Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
Free speech is meaningless unless you allow people you don't like to say things you don't like. Otherwise, it's irrelevant. And if at the point at which you lose free speech, it doesn't come back.
Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox News because he was going after the establishment's narrative. Most of the time, he would ridicule inconsistent stories pushed by the mainstream media regarding people in power, exposing a lot of conflicting ways in how things are being handled in the American government. As they say, he was flying too close to the sun, but that's not what they want you to believe.
Tucker Carlson has now worked and left MSNBC, CNN and Fox News. He's running out of options now. Like soon he's just going to be on the Weather Channel saying that hurricanes are caused by drag queens.
Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson. For those of you who don't follow cable news, this is like if Ronald McDonald and the Burger King got fired on the same day.
Tucker was not your average journalist. He went after dishonest media outlets, which he called out repeatedly for changing narratives and playing down situations which affect the narrative tremendously. But what actually scares them the most about this man is the fact that during his time on national television, he attracted a massive amount of followers. One of his ex-colleagues stated that lawmakers usually feared that saying the wrong thing would lead to Tucker lashing out against them during his 8 p.m. slot on Fox News. This is how effective this man was. In one segment, he butchered Joe Biden, stating that Hunter Biden's laptop proved that the Biden family was selling influence to the Chinese government, while also mentioning the fact that the federal tax investigation opened against the president's son was not being mentioned anymore, as if it ever existed, which he states is very funny. Because given that they would need to shed light on what was actually on that laptop, it would put the Biden family in a boatload of trouble. Tucker compared these facts with something that happened not so long ago, where the president himself indicted Donald Trump's 75-year-old accountant because he failed to declare the full value of his work vehicle, which completely exposes the double standards of those in power. In an attempt to ridicule Tucker's reputation, the late night show instructed their hosts to poke fun at Tucker's split with Fox News by roasting him on live television.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Fallon, one of the few TV personalities who's still employed.
Last Friday was his final show, which is great, but also unsettling. At least when he had a show, we knew where he was.
This is how the agenda shifts. Now they'll try to push it down our throat that this man is some kind of a joker, the same way they ridicule anyone who does not fit the agenda. He was fired on Friday, April 21st. Lachlan Murdoch, the CEO of the Fox Corporation, stated that forcing out Tucker Carlson was nothing but a business decision. Tucker only broke his silence 7 days later. He uploaded a video on Twitter exactly at 8:01 p.m, the same time his now cancelled Fox News show usually starts. This is what he said.
One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people who really care about what's true. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it.
Fox News are really scared that by firing Tucker, they will lose a huge audience. And indeed, they're right to be scared. Because firing Tucker has put them in a position where most of the people who know what Tucker was about don't want to watch the news anymore, exposing their position more as a media with an agenda rather than the voice of the people. They can censor the television, but they cannot stop the internet. Many platforms on the internet are supporting free speech, which is why independent journalism is growing rapidly. Tucker would only add an insane amount of value to this industry, with his connections, his knowledge, and his will to fight for the truth. It actually makes you wonder how much potential this man has if he's not restricted by a biased company. Former Fox News employee Jonah Goldberg stated that Tucker might go full Joe Rogan and unleash his inner independent journalist, which speaks the truth about the highest entities, which would give the mainstream media a blow they will never recover from because of his massive following. The idea of Tucker becoming an independent journalist scares them, because we can imagine that working in that industry, you end up knowing a lot more stories than you can talk about, which puts their whole narrative in danger, while having less people watching the news means that the people in power have less control on America's perception as a population, something that all governments around the globe fear of losing. Firing Tucker Carlson could turn out to be something which shapes the future of independent journalism in a way that gives more voice to the people who need it, those who suffer injustices, and those who fall prey to the system. Thank you for tuning in to Free Media. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on amazing and entertaining content. See you in the next one.